Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Swing Museum podcast for September. I'm your host, Jan Eberle, and it was great to have a couple of months off, but now back to business. And I think we've got a pretty good podcast for you for the month of September. We're going to take an exclusive and private look at the Sarasota Pen Women, and I talk about the Pen Women a lot because I'm a member of the organization. It's an organization that is strictly for professional women artists, and it is stimulating and relaxing and glorifying to be among fellow professional artists. It's great conversation, it's funny stories, and it's a lot of inspiration. But before we do that, I'd like to come back to that. I am feeling sort of music-ish this particular time, and I've been thinking about doing a feature on Paula Kelly and the Modernaires. And the reason why I say that is PK and the Mods sang with my father during the Glenn Miller days, and then they followed together along after Miller's disappearance and death. And they continued for decades to make great music together. So I'd like to start out by bringing you a tune that is named for a movie of the same name from 1962. It originally starred Jack Lemmon and Lee Remick. The music by the great Hank Mancini. Take a listen to Ray Eberle, Paula Kelly, and the Modernaires, The Days of Wine and Roses.
Child at play through the meadowland toward a closing door, a door marked nevermore that wasn't there before. A passing breeze filled with memories of the golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and you. Passing breeze filled with memories of the golden smile that introduced me to your lips on mine and eyes that shine.
Gives me goosebumps. I love that arrangement. So let's move on to 1961 or 62 live album. And this again is My Father Ray with Paula Kelly and the Modernaires. And in addition, is a gentleman by the name of Tex Beneke. Now, Tex was very instrumental in taking over Glenn's band after he was lost during the war, and he was probably one of his number one key musicians that Glenn really relied on. So it was very natural for my father and Paula and the Mods to all gather together along with Tex and continue bringing the sound of Glenn Miller music along for decades. So this is one of the nicest things you'll hear, a little bit of solo work by Tex Beneke. Here's a tune from 1961. It's live at the amphitheater in Las Vegas, and it's called Moonlight Cocktail. Enjoy.
Couple of jiggers of moonlight and at a star, all in the blue of a June night and one guitar. Fixing a couple of dreamers, and there you are. Lovers hail, the moonlight cocktail. Now add a couple of flowers, a drop of dew. Stir for a couple of hours till dreams come true. As to the number of kisses, it's up to you. Ooh, need a few. Cool it in the summer breeze. Serve it in the starlight underneath the trees. You'll discover tricks like these are sure to make your moonlight cocktail please. Follow the simple directions and they will bring life of another complexion where you'll be king. You will awake in the morning and start to sing. Moonlight cocktails are the thing.
Well, it certainly is wonderful to hear them all together again, especially as the decades went by after the time that Glenn Miller's civilian band disbanded in 1942. I don't think history would have been the same. And the great thing about it is they emerged from more than just an era. They were more popular than ever. They were best friends. They were closest artists. And through the highest and lowest of times, they succeeded. Those were some great times and great personal memories from yours truly. Hi, everyone. I'm Jan Eberle, your host of the Swing Museum podcast. Tune in by day to ksav.org to hear the best of old-time radio since, well, old-time radio. And check out their broadcast schedule where you can listen to a different hosted show every evening. How fabulous. But don't forget to check out my Swing Museum podcast archive page for the latest and greatest in my world and the world of art. So tune in to ksav.org, your radio home on the web. Well, if you're just joining us, you are tuned into the Swing Museum podcast for the month of September. I'm your host, Jan Eberle, and we spent the first 15 minutes or so reveling in some really yummy music and some great music history. But I would like to change gears a little bit and stay with history, but go down a different road. Since I've had my podcast, I've made it no secret that I am a very proud member of the National League of American Pen Women, which is an organization of professional women artists. They started in 1897, right off of DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C. And fast forward to 1957, this is when Sarasota opened its branch. So who are we? A lot of people want to say, who in the world are the Pen Women? That's exactly what we are. We are a national group of professional artists. We have 3 directives. One would be considered art, which is drawing or painting or sculpting or using charcoal and so on. The second would be what we call letters, which is obvious. It is writing, poetry, prose, books, stories, pretty much anything that you can imagine. And the third is music. So you can either be composing, you can be performing. It's really an awesome and very versatile organization, and it allows us to join our common bonds together, which is the process of creating. And it really is fascinating. So the interesting thing about this group, and sometimes I know that stereotypically women can be known to be a little bit more emotional about things in a negative way. Not so at all with this organization. Everyone is focused, inspired, supportive, intellectual, funny, non-judgmental, and especially of their fellow artists. There is no envy, and it is just one of those feelings that you are not alone. So this is the perfect definition of what it is like to be in the Pen Women organization. So I took the opportunity to ask my fellow Pen Women whether they minded being casual and unedited during a luncheon we had. And we're going to go down that road. We are visiting at the home of artist Nancy Beavers. She has opened her home and allowed me to take a quick spin through her home and show her exactly just a tiny tidbit of what we're all about. I'm coming to you from the home of Nancy Beaver. She is one of the most beautiful artists and painters that we've had here at the Sarasota Pen Women. And currently I am here at the home of Nancy while we're having a luncheon. And so a little bit later on, I'm going to get a chance to talk to some of the other Pen Women to ask that question, who in the world are the Pen Women? So stay tuned.
I have thoroughly enjoyed being a member of Pen Women, and it has helped my writing because I have a writing group that is formed of Pen Women. But I also like knowing people who do other things. I'll never do art. I know I won't. except the cover of a book. But I've
That's
loved it.
art. That's art.
And I love it.
So I never say never.
Yeah.
You never know.
I agree with you on the 3 different fields that we have represented through the Penn Women's Organization. I can be a member of many art groups in Sarasota, but I really enjoy the Penn Women because of the fact that you people introduced me to the wonderful world of writing and also to music, which I knew nothing about really before I became a Penn Woman.
Well, for me, serving as president this past year, we've really made an effort to do workshops to really reach out to the community. But our own community has responded, and so you had artists coming to the writing workshops, which was really a lot of fun. And I did a calligraphy workshop so that people who had not done art before got an introduction to art with something that they already know, which is making letters. And so the interdisciplinary relationship that we have between art, writing, and music allows us all to grow and expand, and that is what really excites me. Because being a writer for so long, now I'm starting to do art, and that's really exciting. So together we grow.
Maddie, your turn.
I'm washing dishes.
And I'm helping her. I'm the
What would you
assistant
like to,
dishwasher.
you can ask the questions and I'll answer.
Well, how do you feel? What are the feelings that you feel being a Penn woman, and how do you feel about having discovered being able to become
I was
a
kind
Penn
of
woman?
dragged in at the beginning, but I loved it. And I've stayed. I don't even remember when Barbara Harrison kind of dragged me in. She said, you have to join. It wasn't like, do you want to join? No, you have to join. I think that's a good technique, by the way. You don't just say, would you like to join? You have to join. You have to, and that's it. This is what you need to do, and let's get to it. She was very, very, very blunt, and so I joined. I mean, I'm the kind of person, I guess, I sort of follow somebody who's very emphatic, and then I liked it, so I stayed. I mean, I wasn't going to stay if I didn't like it. So I'm still here.
We're glad.
That says something.
Very much. Miss Wilma.
Okay, I have 2 important things, I think, that signify why I feel such an affinity toward my fellow Penn women. That doesn't sound right. Fellow Penn women. At any rate, one is that whether you're a writer, which is what I am, or an artist or a musician, there's a shared, everyone understands the creative process. And it doesn't matter what the field is, but that creative process. And so
Absolutely.
I feel this natural association. And as far as the other thing is, of course, sharing the ability that I have with others in the community who might want to do the same thing is something that I derive great pleasure from, and so that's what keeps me working, to try to get other people to feel good about themselves and their talent, and to bring out their talent, and that's why I serve. Of course, I have not had an opportunity to write because I've been so busy being the vice president. So, at any rate, I love you all.
We love you.
How do
Nancy.
I feel about the Penn women? Very pensive.
More spices.
And she's a stand-up too.
And also, I really enjoy the companionship in the company. It's nice to talk to real artists that are interested in the kind of things I'm interested in, and we're all a little bit left side brained anyway, so nice and comfortable and wonderful group. And they do good things for the community and help people too, as well as show, and we just have fun.
And so
Our patrons are important.
Well, matron, I knew right away I wanted to be associated. I always felt that artists, though, are very secretive about their work, but I feel like at Penn, now they feel like opening up and sharing what they do and how they do it. So I'm just along for the ride.
How's the ride?
It's a good ride. Nice women, good women.
Last but not least,
Last
Miss
but not
Marcia.
least, yes. I feel honored to be in this group. And to the intellectual, besides all your talent, it's the intellectual stimulation that really is the delight and the sharing of it all. And there's, even though we have all this great talent, and I can see we have all this talent, nobody's arrogant. Nobody really thinks that it's just wonderful. It's really what makes Sarasota worth being here.
Yep.
Amen.
And it's a transfer.
We have a tentative member. Let's get a word from her about her experience today.
And I have my application ready to go. And I'm waiting for October, is it 19th or 9th, to get my interview. So I'm ready to go.
Are you art or music or?
I'm visual arts and also I'm writing. So.
Good luck.
I think for me, I spent a lot of my childhood thinking about things in my head, hearing voices, and not schizophrenia voices. Voices, we all know what we're talking about when we say that. Voices, we see colors, we hear music, we do all kinds of crazy things. And so I thought to myself, it's bad enough going to school in first grade and trying to explain who my father was. He was because everybody that I knew prior to that, everybody's father was a singer or a trumpet player or something. But long story short, 57. I was 57 when I walked, or actually saw Wilma and Barb. And when I first walked in, I said, "There's people like me. I love it. I thought that I would never find you." And it's true. And it's true. And I'm so glad that I did. And that's the epitome of being an artist for me.
Very good.
We are the Penn Women.
Well, we can be some crazy ladies when we're in the same room. However, we are genuine, we are artists, and we are loved. That's all I have to say about that. Well, I thank you so much for joining me for this September podcast. It's good to be back in my little recording studio, bringing this to you. I'm going to give you a peek at October. I have got I think it's going to be fascinating. I think it's going to be a little humorous. I think it's going to be relaxing and some of the best fun I've had in a long time. I've got an interview with author Judy Allen, and I cannot wait to bring this to you in October. And before I leave you, I'd like to leave you with one more tune by my father, Ray Eberle. Happens to be a beautiful song and one that reminds me a great deal of him. It's a song called I've Grown Accustomed to Her Face from 1956. I hope you can join us next time here at the Swing Museum podcast. I'm Jan Eberle. Have a great week, a safe week. Until next time, so long, everybody.
Accustomed to her face, she almost makes the day begin. I've grown accustomed to the tune she whistles night and noon. Her smiles or frowns Her ups, her downs are second nature to me now. Like breathing out and breathing in. I was serenely independent and content before we met. Surely I can always be that way again, and yet I've grown accustomed to her looks, accustomed to her voice, accustomed to her face. I'm very grateful she's a woman and so easy to forget. Rather like a habit one can always break, and yet I've grown accustomed to the trace of something in the air, accustomed